People who love staying up late finally don't need to sleep anymore because a new virus has appeared. If you fall asleep, you die. Several friends were hanging out at home when suddenly one of them collapsed right off the couch. Dave rushed over to check, only to realize the friend was no longer breathing. He told another friend to call the police, but that friend, who had been using illegal substances, panicked and ran off. So Dave suspected the person had overdosed. He tried CPR while telling his close buddy to call the police, but every attempt to dial ended in a busy tone. With no choice, Dave went into the bedroom to find more help, only to discover his friend and his girlfriend already asleep. He tried to wake them up, but his friend's head tilted lifelessly, and when he checked the girlfriend's pulse, she too had no breath. Dave immediately covered his own mouth and nose with clothing and warned his buddy to leave quickly, concluding that there must be a gas leak in the room. He carried the 3 bodies to the car and rushed them to the hospital, but as soon as they entered the hospital, they saw several beds in the hallway already covered with sheets. Those patients were dead too. Still, they found a nurse to help. She checked the bodies and confirmed they were beyond saving. Since it wasn't yet the official shift time, no other staff were present, so the bodies could only be left outside. Dave and his buddy had no choice but to wait inside the hospital. At that moment, they noticed a father and daughter waiting on the opposite side. The daughter gave her father a sip of medicinal wine and told him to close his eyes and rest for a few minutes. 10 minutes later, Dave saw the old man foaming white bubbles at the mouth. He shouted to him, but when the daughter shook her father's shoulder, his head just slumped. He was dead. The nurse took a glance and hurried to the break room for help, but found her sleeping colleagues had also stopped breathing. Dave immediately suspected it might be some illness, like a stroke or heart attack.
I don't know!
Once the nurse calmed down, she explained that many patients had died mysteriously that night, and she suspected someone had poisoned the hospital. But every call to the police or CDC went unanswered, so they drove to the police station. But on the way, the nurse suddenly kept insisting Dave stop the car. She stood in the middle of the road for a while, declaring that the entire city must have been struck by disaster, since there wasn't a single person on the streets. Then she pulled out a gun and fired a shot into the air, reasoning that anyone still alive would come. But after 10 minutes, no one appeared. They entered nearby houses and indeed found countless people dead in their sleep. They checked the whole street. Some people had died in bed, others on couches. The nurse finally concluded that this was a virus, triggered by falling asleep. Now the most urgent task was to warn those still awake, those who hadn't had the chance to fall asleep yet. Dave said there was a late-night radio station that broadcast until 8:30 in the morning. If they could reach it, they could send out a warning. But just as they tried to start the car, smoke poured from the engine. At that moment, Dave finally got through to his girlfriend, but since they were having relationship issues, she hung up without giving him a chance to explain.
When I am ready to talk,
I will let you know.
While his buddy said fixing the car would take another 20 minutes, Dave decided to run to his girlfriend's place on foot. The streets were still completely empty, only corpses scattered around, some dead on porch hammocks, some homeless people dead in abandoned corners. Trying to cut through a shortcut, he climbed over a wall but accidentally fell and blacked out, while at the